Hi, welcome to RV to Freedom Live and dealing with long travel days. We're Carenza and Brandon.
Hi.
And we're your hosts for tonight and the hosts of the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And the creators of the Roadmap to Full-Time RVing course, which we just launched again, and we just filled it up. So it's awesome. Everybody's there. And we do all this stuff because we like to help. We're helpful people. And maybe we give away a little too much, but we try to be, make it better for everybody. So today we're talking about long travel days, and it's a really great topic for us to talk about right now because that's what we're doing.
That is exactly what we're doing. And hi, welcome to Bridget and Dwight, and everybody's joining us. And you guys chime in if you feel like you have these long days too. And I mean, how many of you have to travel with a long travel day, long distance, longer than you would like?
Yeah, because in the RV world, we don't really want to travel long distances. I mean, you think about it at first, you're like, oh, I'm going to see the whole country. That's crazy. Like, see little bits of the country and little tiny jumps and move. You've got the rest of your life to move all over. But sometimes life situations or you just want to get somewhere else means long travel days. So we're doing a series of 4 or 5 long travel days to get across the country. So last time we talked to you guys live, I think we were in Utah on a cliff. And now we're in Lawrence, Kansas, which is completely different.
Right. And that's the east side of Kansas. So not even like we're talking all the way across a couple states here.
And tomorrow we'll be in Missouri, and a little bit after that we'll be in Indiana. So that's, sometimes you got to do that stuff to make the scenery go by.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to be somewhere, or you have something come up and, family or friends that you need to go. And you just do what you got to do. That's why our house has wheels. We take advantage of it. And hi, friend Dwight and Pam. Not Pam Andrews, Pam Clayton. It's funny that it popped up that way. And Bob and Kat. Hey, Kat, I'm going to be sending you stuff. I know we've been a little late. If anybody wants to send Kat maps for her roof or her ceiling, not roof. She's taking those and making an awesome collection on the top. Now that we get across here, we're going to get to the mailbox, put those in the mail for you.
Yeah.
So we're doing
I'm just looking down, making sure I get comments because they don't always pop up on our screen. So oh no, there's us talking.
All right, so let's just start in after Brandon gets us stopped talking.
I'm trying to make us shut up, but we keep talking. Okay, good.
So long travel days, like we said, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And we try to stick with a couple hours, maybe a few hours at most of travel time. But there are those days when we wake up, we get in the RV, we start moving, and we don't really stop until the end of the day.
Yeah.
And there's some ways to make that a little more tolerable, a little easier, perhaps, and some other things. So one, we want to just start with prepare.
Yeah. Prepare. And I tried to show that, but it's not. There it is. Okay. And what that really means is if you know you got a long day of travel ahead of you, don't wait until the morning to pack everything up. Go around the night before and pack up your site and put away things inside the RV that you're going to put away anyway. Save yourself some time in the morning. And if you're like us, that means you don't have to get up quite so early to get going because you did some stuff the night before.
Yeah, you're also not spending all your energy in the morning frantic trying to get everything packed up that should be ready to go. It's a nice thing to do when you're also just travel days, but it's more critical and helps you out on those long days because sometimes that stuff takes a lot longer than you think.
Yeah.
And it's going to take just to pack up all your stuff.
And it's inevitable the day you want to leave early is the day when you can't figure out how to get something put away right or something's just in your way and slowing you down.
Yeah. All right. And then we always want to make sure if we're going to be traveling, especially we're doing these long days one after another and we're not really making these like a 2-day stop anywhere.
Yeah. So we'll pull into a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel or something overnight.
So that way we can keep moving. But when we do that, we need to be able to have access to things that we need to use. Now, thankfully, most of our RV is pretty accessible when it's closed. So one of the reasons we chose this RV. But we do have a cabinet a pantry cabinet where some of the things are stored, like aluminum foil and our canned goods. So we need to make sure to
also in the bedroom, our underwear drawer, my underwear drawer and sock drawer and the t-shirt drawers are also blocked. And if you know me, you know I like my t-shirts. So get stuff out of those blocked cabinets before you leave. That way you'll have, you know, a change of clothes or your food or whatever you need on the road, and you don't, you know, because a lot of these places you don't necessarily want to put out your slides, or you won't because it's just a quick stop.
Right. So that way you can have that. So if we wanted to, you know, make a bean salad and we had a can of beans, we have it ready to go, or even aluminum foil for any leftovers we might bring home from having one of Brandon's pizzas on the road. But it makes it easier. And, you know, so he can have fresh underwear in the morning.
Yeah. And if you don't do that, you're going to find yourself eating a lot of road food. And road food is not usually the best food. I mean, it's good, but it's not good for you. And if you're doing multiple days on the road, eating fast food and wherever you can fit your RV on the road, it gets heavy real fast.
Yeah. So what do you guys like to do? Do you like that road food? Yeah. Are you fans? Let us know. But on that subject, instead of having to stop and always buy food, because especially if you're trying to make time quickly, you might not always be like going through towns. You might stay on the interstate, and so on that, when you get off, you're in a lot of fast food and, you know, truck. And
you're also limited to where your RV fits,
right?
You know,
and yeah, you can't go everywhere with it, especially if big long ones, or like we're towing our car. It makes it a lot harder. So it's nice to have prepared foods ready to go. You know, prepare a meal so that you can stop and have your lunch on the way. Even sometimes have something ready for night. So you can get easy, ready-made things. You can make a salad that is prepared, and that, I mean, like a fresh salad or a chicken salad, something like that you can keep cold in the fridge and
you can
pull
tell
it out.
Food is like her thing, because this is like food. You're like really getting into it. Another one that people do a lot is, hey, and Melinda just said it. I was just getting ready to say it. Great minds think alike. But if you like crock pot meals, put all your stuff in the crock pot. Put it in the sink in your kitchen, so if it does happen to spill, it doesn't go everywhere. And if you have an inverter, you can plug it in while you're driving, or you can turn on the generator while you're driving and let it work. And then when you get there, you have a nice hot meal ready for you with not a lot of cleanup.
Right. And sandwiches are just an easy thing to make at night. So have sandwich fixings. You know, if you're tired and you didn't make that crock pot ahead of time and you have a warm meal, just to have that stuff where you can make a nice sandwich can make a difference on how you feel at the end of the day.
And that being said, we have not done that at all this trip. It's been fast food, pizza, fast food again. Yeah, it's been bad, and we need to be a lot better.
But we have our salad stuff ready to go, because we do have salad to make. And for him, he has a rotisserie chicken that he can use and pull off. And I have to say, with Marie, I feel ya about fast food wasteland as a vegetarian pescatarian, since you love California and you don't eat fried food, because you are in the land of beef and fried food. We actually spent our first few months in Austin when we left on our RV adventure.
Yeah, on our trip we left on 4 years ago. We haven't gotten home yet.
And I got so used to being able to pick up vegetarian food anywhere that I kind of forgot what the rest of the world was like.
And you got a good helping of that, because we just left. We were just in Dodge City yesterday. Was that yesterday?
Yes.
Wow, that was a long time ago. We were just in Dodge City, Kansas, which is a cattle city. That's the whole reason Dodge City exists. And Krenza wasn't having much luck there.
Yeah, Connie said they plan a picnic type lunch and find a beautiful spot. And that is a great tip too, you know. Make these picnic foods that you can just take with you. They're prepared, and find a nice spot to eat it. It makes it so much more enjoyable. Yeah. There's often like scenic overlooks, or all those places like in Texas and West Texas, they do have all the pull-offs
with the picnic areas,
picnic tables that are actually pretty.
We've even sat in the Flying J parking lot in the RV parking section, just sitting there eating our sandwich, staring at Arby's or whatever they've got inside of it. We actually ate our own food while we were sitting in a Cracker Barrel parking lot once too.
And then we ate there in the morning, but at night we didn't.
When we got there at night,
there.
we didn't want to eat there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bridget says she hates cooking, so having all that kind of ready-made things can make a difference too. Pick up a ready-made salad from the grocery store that you can carry with you because it even makes it fast and easy.
Simple snacks
and
too.
Healthier than what you're going to find on the road most of the time.
So then the next thing is, you got a long day ahead of you, so rest up, get plenty of sleep. RVs are more mentally taxing to drive down the road, especially if you're driving like we did the last couple of days with 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds.
Yeah.
They take a lot more mental energy because they tend to be wider than a car, so that you need more of that lane and you've got to be more careful. They're also more affected by winds and trucks passing. They're heavier, and it's everything you own, so you're a little more worried about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do it tired. And if you ever, we're going to get to that later, but if you ever start to feel tired, just stop. It's not worth it. Wherever you're going is probably still going to be there when you get there.
Right. So yes, just make that night, pack up your stuff and go to bed.
Yeah.
And just get some sleep, get some rest. Don't stay up all night binging Netflix or anything like that.
What are you saying?
Save that for another night. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. I fell asleep with the TV on last night, and we're on battery power right now. And I'm like, I woke up in the middle of the night, like, oh, how do I turn off the TV? Because I was afraid I was going to kill the batteries.
All right, on the road, we're going to switch. So that was preparing. That was the night before. Get all your ducks in a row. Get everything going. Make it easy on yourself for the travel day. So this is travel day. You are on the road. Now, what can you do to help make it a little easier or tolerable?
Or just make those hours go by a little quicker, because, I enjoy driving to a point. I didn't as much when I started, and now that we're out here, I enjoy it, but it still gets monotonous. And sometimes, we like the Midwest. We go through the Midwest, but the Midwest roads, they're long and they're straight.
They're straight, yeah.
And they get a little boring.
Right. Well, it's easier to lose your focus on it because if you're going on curvy, it's monotonous. And when you're going on curvy roads, you have to pay attention a little more because, you're curving or mountains up and down, and you've got to pay attention more. But if you're just on this flat, long road, it's very easy to become distracted. Your mind's just going somewhere else or a little tired.
And, like when you're in a car and you're coming home from work, you might leave work and get home and not really remember how you got home because you were just kind of on autopilot. That's not something you can do in the RV. If you've got any size trailer or motorhome, you don't want to get into that period where you're zoned out and you don't even remember the last 100 miles because, it's a big thing. You need to be active when you're driving it.
So a little tip to help you stay focused and engage your mind is just listen to an audiobook or podcast.
Yeah.
That will help engage your mind. You're actually listening for things. And sometimes even with music, you can tune out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's great. If you have music, sing along. Yeah. Something that actively engages your mind.
But when you get to the point where you're not singing along to the music anymore and it's just background noise and it's just kind of the drone with the road, audiobooks are great.
They are.
And we even started that before RVing when we used to do long car trips. In a car, we would do 12 and 14-hour days. In a motorhome, we don't do near as much. But the audiobooks help. And there's a lot of places. I mean, you can get them online. You can go through
like Audible. Yeah. You can do Audible a trial subscription and get, I think, 2 books. Yeah. Even to just try it out.
But while you're on the road, one of the great resources is Cracker Barrel, because Cracker Barrel, you basically buy the book at one Cracker Barrel. Then when you get to another one, you return it and they take a little charge. So it's basically renting it from one Cracker Barrel to the next.
And so Lyft has a similar program like
the
that.
Truck stops.
Some of the truck stops.
So like if you've got 24 hours of driving ahead of you, find yourself a book that's 24 hours long. Right. And when you get on the road, turn it on and turn it off when you stop.
Or I might even say just a tad shorter.
Yeah, we do
so that that you actually get to finish the book before you get there. We have
had a few books where we didn't finish them, and then we held on to them for weeks until we could finally finish them. But audiobooks are great. And, there's all different subjects out there. And,
Yeah.
and so find something that engages you and keeps you
Right.
focused.
And podcasts are another thing. How many people listen to podcasts? We'd love to see if you listen to podcasts or if you use audiobooks, and let us know in the comments what they are. I'm sure other people would like to see that, because people love to find interesting books and podcasts to listen to. Because if you want more bite-sized chunks, or you want to listen to a certain subject, there's so many podcasts.
Yeah, and
nowadays.
especially if you're trying to learn something, it's like, grab a whole bunch of podcasts on the subject and
Yeah.
learn while you're driving. So you're sort of multitasking, but it engages your brain enough to keep you kind of alert and paying attention
Right.
and there, and not just zoned off in your own world thinking about whatever.
And this is the little weird side to it, but for me, I get motion sickness. I'm fine in the RV for the most part, but I can't read that much. I can read a little bit, but if I try to do it for too long, or as we were saying, the wind that was happening, it was a little too much. So I can't read a book while we're doing this or something like that all the time. So a podcast I could listen to, and we can listen together and then even discuss things from it.
Yes, we'll have our very serious conversations about the.
But it's something that we can both listen to, and I can actually get to hear stuff too. In an audiobook, I can't read the book sometimes because of the motion sickness, but I can listen to it. Yeah,
Brigitte has that same problem, and it looks like Melinda and Connie, they use the Audible and podcasts. Thomas does the audiobooks. Yeah, the audiobooks, it seems kind of boring at first when you think about it, but try one. Grab a subject, something that's fun or interests you or whatever, and give it a shot, because in the car it's nice. You're not doing anything anyway. You're just driving, so you might as well have something nice.
Yes, Susan, you're not the only one. I am totally like that. Cannot read in a moving vehicle very easily.
Bob's the same way.
RV is a little easier. I will admit that, because we're a little more stable. I don't know, unless it's really windy, but not for hours on end. No.
So the next tip, which helps a lot, is to take turns driving, which is real simple. Just take turns.
If there's two of you and you can trade off, that will give you each a chance to rest, and you'll each be alert at different times.
Exactly. I was looking, sorry, just reading comments.
Oh yeah, Connie, that's a great one too. The old radio shows from before TV. Yeah, because they're made purely for that audio experience. Yeah.
And then another thing to talk about is taking the interstate versus taking the side roads. I do primarily most of the driving in the RV, and personally, I prefer the interstate for the RV when we've got to do a long travel day, because the lanes are wider, everybody's moving in the same direction, there's no cross traffic, and it's fast, and I just know that this is going to be fairly clear and straight and really not many surprises. But there are times when getting off the interstate, taking the scenic route, it kind of breaks up the driving a little bit, makes it a little more interesting, and maybe you'll discover something along the road that you weren't expecting to see anyway.
Right. Yeah. So if the interstates, you can still get off and do things, but sometimes the scenic routes lend themselves a little easier to that. And it's one of those things where you got to pay attention again. Yeah, a little bit more.
The roads are narrower. You can especially get into some of the scenic routes where there's no shoulder, there's no runoff on the side of the road. And our RV is somewhat, we're 30-foot Class A, and we're pretty wide. We pretty much take up all the lane. So it does take a little bit more mental paying attention, but it's a nice change of pace. We actually just drove by a windmill factory, that the big, huge windmills, all the blades were on the ground laid out. And that was we never would have seen that on the highway.
Right. Very true. And yes, Susan, it does mean you need to learn to drive with a trailer, and you should, because you never know. You might need to pick up and do that sometime.
And I know.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and Susan's husband, you need to learn to let go Hugh a little bit. And I'm just kidding. I don't know if you have a problem, but I do. I have the same problems because I've driven the RV for so much that I feel like I know all its quirks and its weirdnesses, that I'm super nervous when Krenza drives it. And that's just me needing to let go It'll be all right. She doesn't want to destroy all of our stuff either.
I don't. I don't. But yeah, everybody should learn how to drive their RV. Even if you don't do it most of the time and it's not your primary job, just because you never know if you're going to need to move it for some reason. Maybe your partner is off doing something else and all of a sudden you have to like move it because the ranger comes and tells you to move or something. Or what if there's an emergency and you need to get that RV back?
Or even an injury, like if I twisted my ankle or, you know, screwed up my back or something and I just needed to be laid out on the couch and I can't sit, then the option is don't move and just sit wherever we are, or, you know, someone else drives and at least we can get somewhere else and I can go lay in the bed and watch TV while she drives.
This is his idea. This has never been done. And we actually store stuff on the bed. So I don't really know where he's thinking this is coming from, but it's one of the reasons I don't drive most of the time because I'm afraid he's going to go do that. Yeah. But
Laura said her worry would be the bridges and narrow roads. Narrow roads is a definite worry off the interstate. Bridges aren't as much of a worry, but as you get off the interstate, they do become more of an issue. They're really more of an issue around train tracks. So if you see a lot of train tracks, or if you're in a town that's like a train town, like trains come through there, you'll be more likely to encounter low overpasses because they're not going to raise the overpass for the trains. Occasionally they'll dig under the underpass to make it lower, but they don't always get to those. So yeah, there are ways to check that with different apps and things too. Yeah. Bridget can teach her cat to drive. Wasn't that an old SNL sketch?
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Then it's going to be to you, and you're just going to have to like take more breaks.
Yeah. So that's the next one.
That's the next one. I was going to say with the scenic roads, though, it does break the monotony a little bit of an interstate because, you know, there on the interstate, you're going straight, and the roads, you're turning and seeing things. So, yeah. But yeah, just take breaks. That just helps you rest.
We're breaking up a little bit ourselves.
Oh,
can you still see us all right, guys? We're kind of, hey,
there you're moving.
Sorry.
Okay. So even on the interstate, you can pull off and take a break. Sometimes we'll see a sign, a billboard for something, and we're like, we're going there. You know, we just 3 miles off the road, and they've got great cheese. Let's go.
Yeah.
Food. Sorry. But those little breaks get you moving, stretch your legs. Remember that, you know, when you're on a plane for 8 hours or something, they're like, get up and walk around because you need to get your blood moving and avoid having clots and all of that. Same thing if you're sitting forever in an RV or a truck to move your RV. You need to move sometimes. You need to move your legs. So take those little breaks, see something. Like I said, we stop and go see billboards. We're like, oh, hey, something's off the road. It's not too far. Let's just go do that. It helps break it up.
Yeah.
Go see the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota.
Yeah, we saw the biggest cherry pie tin because the pie was gone, but we saw that up in Michigan. Yeah, we'll go see any kind of roadside attractions. I mean, that's what got us started in all of this.
Toons is the driving cat. Yeah, that's what it was. Thanks, Kevin.
Nice. But also with taking breaks, anytime you feel remotely tired or remotely unfocused, get off the road.
Yeah.
You're big. Unless you're in a little van, but even still, everybody should be getting off the road, no matter if they're in a car or anything. But we're big, we're heavy, we're slow to react, we're slow to stop. You know, you need to just take a break, and nothing's worth it. You know, so just get off the road. Go get one of these Mountain Dew kickstarts. That's the redneck Georgia in me. You know, do something that gets you going. Get outside, run around, open a window, let the cold air blow in if you got it. And if you're just tired, just stop.
Just stop.
You know?
Yeah.
There's always somewhere to stop.
So after taking breaks, we also just suggest avoiding rush hour in big cities,
which we're really bad at
because we've gotten out of practice.
Yeah, we forget about big cities having rush hour. So yeah, we tend to roll right into town right at 5 o'clock. But pay attention to that. Once you get out on the road and you're traveling between smaller towns, you're traveling outside of bigger cities, it's real easy to forget about that. Then you plan your route and you come in and, you know, rush hour is just tough. there's a lot of cars out there anyway, but also everybody is in a rush. They just want to get home, and they get real aggressive, and you're not in any hurry. So, stop at a Cracker Barrel or something outside of town and eat dinner and take your time and go back afterward.
Yeah, go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your fridge right there.
Exactly.
No, just stop, eat, go grocery shopping, do something, just relax for a little bit. We've even rented a movie at the Red Box and watched it before. I saw Laura. She's the driver, but she has hauled trailers full of steel for a construction company. So, yeah, I don't blame your husband for using that as an excuse. She's like, you got this.
Yeah.
I don't need to drive. Right?
And so Liz, Mountain Dew is her favorite food. Like, we're from the same area, so yeah, it's the same. And Eric, the benefit of being in the RV is when you're tired, you can stop and take a nice nap, and that's very true. I mean, a short power nap can be all you need to get another couple hours out there.
20 minutes is like a little power nap. That's what they say is the right amount to get enough sleep, but not turn into like a full-on groggy after you wake up kind of sleep.
It's a lot of self-control to get just 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. For you, it is.
So then, while you're out there, you're going to be burning a lot of miles. You're going to be burning a lot of fuel. If you've got if you got a diesel motor home, you might be getting 7 or 8 miles per gallon. Gas motor home, you're probably getting 6 miles per gallon. Some of you pulling trailers will do a little better, but not a whole lot. So in order to save some fuel, slow down just a little bit. The law, I can't remember all the physics of it, but as you speed up, it's not a linear increase in fuel consumption. It's actually progressively gets worse and worse and worse the faster you go. So if you can slow down a little bit, you can save a lot over the long term. So, we've been on roads that were 75 miles per hour all the way across.
We're not doing that in RV.
No, cruise control's pegged at 62.
Yeah. And everybody can pass us.
Yeah, and that's just where the RV's happy anyway. And also, you don't need to be moving that fast on this big a load anyway. But it helps to save a little bit of fuel over the long term. So just helps.
Yeah. All right, so let's say...
Bridget said RV should not drive more than 65 at the most.
That's
and realistically, they shouldn't. I mean, if you're towing a trailer tires usually aren't rated at that high a speed. And these big motor homes, I mean, you're pushing a box through the wind, and the fuel economy gets worse and worse. And you'll get stuck behind some of these semis, and they're actually governed at 65. They can't even go faster than that if they wanted to. And that's because the company doesn't want them going that fast, and it saves them on fuel if they don't.
Mm-hmm. So now that you've been on the road, you need to pull off and stop for the night. So one is just pull off at or before sunrise, or when you get
sunset.
Sunset.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sunrise.
What's sunrise? I've never seen that.
Or when you get sleepy, don't wait just for sunset. I keep wanting to say sunrise. Sunset. If you are tired before that, stop. You don't need to push yourself to go. It just makes it worse. Tired driving is like drunk driving. And it's bad enough in a car. Now you've got this big thing behind you, and you don't want to get in an accident in it. Yeah.
And we don't like driving at night personally because you can't see as far down the road with the headlights as you can in the daylight. And there's deer, there's other animals that are going to dart across the road. And you're just not, in our motorhome, and if you're towing any size trailer, you're not going to be swerving. You're pretty much just going to plow through whatever it is. Because if you try to do a quick maneuver, you're probably going to get in trouble. So we just prefer not to drive at night because you can't see that far, and it just doesn't feel as safe. Now, if we're on the interstate and it's really, really well lit, we will drive at night because we can still get in some more miles. But
just a little bit, because we have run into issues with very well lit highways.
Yes, I hit the largest pothole I've ever hit and actually cracked the windshield on the motorhome because it was such a violent hit.
Yeah.
And maybe I would have seen it better in the daylight because it was a weird flat light from the headlights and the overhead. So yeah, just plan your daylight driving. Yeah, and Bridget almost hit a bear.
Ooh.
I saw deer. I'm like, oh deer, oh bear. Yeah,
Bear.
Yeah,
That would have been bad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're in bear and moose country, yeah, you really.
Yeah, don't mess around in moose country. Their eyes don't reflect.
Right. Anyway, so when you're ready to pull off, if you want to stay in a campground, make sure you plan ahead so that you know when that campground closes, because some stay open later, but there are a lot that close like at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or you might just need to at least call ahead and get a space.
Yeah, they'll often tape a map and your site number on the door, and you can deal with them in the morning. But again, pulling into a campground in the dark is tough if you're waiting too late, because setting up in the dark and not being able to see what you're doing and not seeing if there's any trees or overheads or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on the road, Walmarts are a good option. Walmart corporately, I know there's a lot of debate in the group. Sorry, it's one of the things that gets everybody. Walmart corporately allows RV camping. They want you to camp there. Sam Walton.
It's not camp. It's
camp.
Just staying overnight.
One night, overnight. Pull in
overnight.
at night, get your butt out in the morning. But they want you to stay there. Sam Walton was an RVer. They expect that you're going to spend money if you do. Now, there are city ordinances that are being passed in cities, usually as you get closer to bigger cities and touristy areas, that don't allow camping at the Walmart. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of speculation why, but pay attention to those, because you may get a knock on the door. We have been asked to move once at midnight.
But most of the time you should be going in and asking or calling up before you get there anyway.
Yeah.
But they are RV friendly corporately. So it is fine. You can go there, spend the night, just go into the store, buy what you need. Sometimes you can pick, because most Walmarts have grocery stores in them.
You can get some groceries that you need anyway.
Groceries that you need anyway. Something to make for dinner. Rent your Redbox movie. Come out, spend the night, sleep, pack up in the morning, and leave.
Yeah. Now, when you're staying at Walmart's, you don't want to put out all your slides, put your jacks down, put your awnings out. You really want to just look like an RV parked in the lot. You don't want to look like you're camping.
You're not
there.
camping.
Yes.
You're just getting some sleep.
And I think we've had the best luck. Every single time we've gone into a Walmart and asked somebody in person, they've said yes. On the phone, people are wishy-washy. It's easy to turn someone down on the phone, but if you show up, then they tend to say yes. And then there's other lots like that, like Home Depots, Lowe's. Just go in and ask. If they got a big lot, go ahead and ask if you can stay. And as long as there's not a city ordinance, a lot of times they're fine with it.
Yeah.
Then another one that we really like.
We were just at a casino.
Traveling place to place is staying at casinos. Casinos want you to stay there and come on in and donate to the casino. And we like them. They've got 24-hour security. The casino's always open. You can go in and walk around and see stuff. And a lot of times they'll give you free money to play with if you sign up for a player's card. And so sometimes they actually pay you to camp if you win. You just need to have good willpower. Otherwise, it gets expensive fast.
Right. So like tonight, we actually did choose because we knew we needed to be on this live broadcast tonight. And we don't like to travel as much on show days. Yeah. So we got here yesterday and we are staying at a state park. But I saw Susan said many of the state parks, they closed their in South Carolina. They lock their gate at dusk. And that happens too in Florida, down in the Keys and stuff. And that state park in San Diego, they lock it at like 7 or something. And it doesn't matter. The ones in Florida, you can get a code to get in, but the one in San Diego,
like, no, you're there.
No, you're there. You cannot get in or out after that.
If there's a fire, I guess we just drive the car through the gate and we get out.
True. That's an interesting quandary. But anyway, just again, if you want to stay at parks, just know. What? Just know when they close so you can be ready to call ahead if you need a spot or, get there before they close.
Now, in some states, not all states, but you can spend the night in a rest stop, or the state may have like a certain number of hours you're allowed to park in the rest stop to sleep. And then there are some states where you're not allowed to rest in the rest stops, which is kind of dumb.
You're allowed to rest,
I
but
know,
only for
you're
like
not,
an hour or two.
exactly.
It's just
So you're not
rest,
really,
cat
yeah,
naps.
but you can't like sleep or
Yeah.
anything. So you can check with the state you're traveling through and see what their rules are. It's usually pretty clear on the state site. And then the old reliable that is usually the last resort, but it's almost always available, are truck stops. And again, truck stops tend to flare up in the group, but go to the truck stop, go inside, ask if you can camp overnight in your RV, and ask them where
Stay overnight. Stay overnight. Don't use the word camp.
Whatever. Yeah.
He's
She's
got
right.
on
She's
in
right.
camp tonight.
Sorry.
But you don't say that because it's not what you're doing.
Yeah, but if you can stay overnight in your RV, and then ask them where they want you to park.
Right.
Because oftentimes they want you to park like out at the edge of the main lot, not in the back with the trucks. And sometimes they want you in the back with the trucks, and that's just what they want.
Yeah, a lot of times there are different areas for the RV, so you're not taking a truck space.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and also, the trucks, they tend to idle their engines
right.
all night. So if you're not back there, it's actually a more pleasant experience because you're not listening to the engines, and they come and go. They may pull out at 2 or 3 in the morning because they got their rest, they got their legally mandated time, and they like to drive at night, so they go. But we like truck stops because they're reliable, they're everywhere. They're always
they have laundry and showers.
Yeah, we actually did laundry, and we haven't done showers at them, but we've seen the showers. We've done laundry in a truck stop, but they're always our last resort because the truckers do need them. They have to use, they have to fuel up there. They have to have legally mandated sleep. So we try not to use them, but they are there.
But the ones we've never been parked with the trucks either. No. They park us out where the cars would be, or there's some RV spaces.
Yeah.
So at that point, we're in a different place. We're not taking any trucks spots, and we get to use facilities too, because sometimes we're not in an area that has another option. And if you are pulling in right at dusk, there might not be a campground that can let you in.
One thing to note about the truck stops, if they do have you park with the trucks, almost always that's back end parking. Mm-hmm. And if you tow a car like we do, we can't back up when the car is connected. So it makes it kind of a pain. Like if they made us park back there, which they never have, we would have to disconnect the car and pull in, and it just gets to be annoying and not worth the effort. Then we'll just keep driving. So sometimes we'll even do that. We'll look at the map and we'll say like, let's try to go there. And then it's like, oh, this didn't work. Well, it's not dark yet. We can keep pushing to the next town. So start to think about that as it's starting to get later in the day.
Mm-hmm. And finally, we need to take care of your toad.
What the heck's a toad?
So for us, because we drive a motorhome, we tow a car, and that is our toad. And some toads actually need to be run every few hours to keep lubricated.
Yeah, ours, for instance, it's every 500 miles. We need to run the engine for a few minutes. So often that's not a big deal because we're not doing 500 miles at a time. But in a long, sorry, appreciate that's all, baby frog. In a long series of travel days, if we don't disconnect the toad and do anything with it, we may put those 500 miles on it where we need to run it. So just don't forget about it back there.
Right, because it's really easy if you're an RVer, a typical RVer who's going to be traveling slower and only traveling 200 to 300 miles a day. It's not a big deal because you're disconnecting, you're going wherever. But those long days, and especially if you're doing one after another and just staying hooked up and just keep going on, it's very easy to forget that that's even a thing.
Yeah.
So just don't forget about your toad and keeping it going, because you hate to have that problem when you arrive somewhere.
I would say just be in the habit to go out and start your engine and just let it run for a bit all the time. If you're doing any of this, just to be safe, it's just a little extra, like what's it going to hurt? And another thing along those lines is when you leave in the morning, don't just get up and leave. Go outside, walk around, because it doesn't happen, but it could happen that somebody might tamper with your vehicle or tamper with whatever's hanging off of your ladder or something, and you might have something that's not connected right. So go eyeball everything.
Something could have come loose even just on its own. There have been instances where little things happen, but just check those connections. Check and make sure that the ladder that's hooked onto your ladder, the full-timer ladder is still connected. Make sure that your the tow equipment looks good.
Yeah, make sure your hitch pins are there. Nobody's messed with it because, people like to do stupid things, and better.
Yeah, even if they're not like trying to steal your car, sometimes people are just weird.
Yeah.
Or it might have been some kids just like, oh, what's
And
this?
again, we don't want to like scare you guys. There's always weirdos roaming around your car at night, but it never hurts to take a couple minutes, walk around, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be before you leave.
Thankfully, we've never had that issue.
Yeah.
So we're over 4 years on the road here, and we've never had that. And we do these stops overnight at random places, and we never had an issue. But it just never hurts. Yeah. Don't want to scare you, but it never hurts.
And it could be that maybe you forgot to hook something up right, and fortunately you made it all the way to where you are, but then you catch it that night. Because we've had at least 2 friends that I know of have their tow become disconnected from their RV in some way, and it's damaged the car. Usually damages the car. So who knows what happened? Did somebody tamper with it? Were they kind of tired and complacent and forgot to put a pin in right? Did the pin just break on its own? Because there's a lot of forces going on there. So not to say this would have helped them, but maybe it could.
Right.
Yeah.
So just always double check and make sure to still check your tire temperature and all that stuff that you need to do before you get moving.
Tire pressure,
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said.
But yeah, Susan, that is a thing with tow cars. Depending on the car, they do have different requirements on how long they can go before you need to run the engine. Ours is really lax. 500 miles is not a big deal at all. But there are some that are like every 100 miles or every 200 miles. And that's not inconceivable that you do that much where you need to go out and run it.
Yeah. Check your manual.
Yeah.
Make sure that you know what your car needs.
So I think that's the most of it. We're doing a lot of long days now. And we don't like to do this. We usually like to move about 100 miles max. So it's not a big deal. We don't get there too late, but we do what we do.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes, and long days happen. So just make the most of it, make the best of it, and try to figure out ways that will make your days easier on you, easier on each other.
Yeah.
And you'll get the miles that you need in and still feel like, better at the end of the day. You don't want to be just so exhausted.
And, when you start dealing with other RVers, there's no bad honor for like, oh man, I did a 14-hour day. It was like, we'll all look at you like you're a crazy person and you need to be off the road, because we don't want to move that much, and we know how mentally taxing it is. Like, just take a break,
right?
Spread it out.
It's not a badge of honor. We're like, oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Yeah, slow down, enjoy the scenery. Because in a car, I've done a 14-hour day by myself in a car. We've regularly done 12-hour days together. But RV life isn't like that. And we even talk about that when we're looking at like how far something is. It's like, well, it's 3 hours in Google time. So that means about 5.5 hours in RV time, between stopping and getting gas and eating lunch or whatever. So just, take your time. You'll get there.
So let us know. Oh, man. If anything here was kind of like a aha, like, oh, that's a good idea. Or if you have any suggestions on what you do. For long travel days. Because
we got a long travel day tomorrow. We can use all the help we can get.
Right? And we'll just quickly recap it.
I had one.
Oh.
Keep some water in one of your tanks.
Oh, yeah.
Preferably your water tank. I don't know why I said one of your tanks.
Keep it in your black tank.
Because when you got to go, you can just pull over, run back to the bathroom, take care of business, get back in the car and go. And you don't have to like go find a gas station and maneuver in and find somewhere to park and then get back. So keep some water in a tank. And also if you were to break down or something on the side of the road, at least you still have your facilities available.
Absolutely.
You've got water.
Or you're in rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
We're just getting into a state park. We've done that before.
Yeah.
No, that is the one things that we always do. So I'm going to add that and prepare.
Yeah.
Make sure you have some water in your freshwater tank. So if you need to use
your
your
other
facilities,
tanks are empty so you can use them.
Yeah. If you need to use your facilities, you can. And pack the day before.
Yeah.
Get stuff out of your block cabinets and have food prepared or easy to make things so that you can quickly make lunch or dinner or whatever you want, snack on the road.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I have made that joke many times, and Krenza never responds to it. You know, she'll be sitting there working or doing something kind of engrossed in her own little thing in the passenger seat, and I'm like, I'm just going to put on the autopilot and go to the bathroom, and no response from this one. Yeah,
I've heard it too many times.
I know.
And I don't find it funny because I know what it would do now. And get plenty of sleep. That's the other key for the night before. Just get plenty of sleep.
And when you're on the road, audiobooks, podcasts, you can get them at Cracker Barrel. You can get them at truck stops. You can get them online and just have them on your phone ready to go. You can download them while you're driving down the road if you want. And take turns driving, even though sometimes it can be hard to give up control. It is helpful because you get to sit in the back and watch TV while the other person does the hard work.
Yeah.
Interstates are fast. Scenic routes are slow, but more interesting. So judge it, mix it up if you need to make it look, make your travels a little different.
Take breaks. Make sure you stretch your legs. Go see something. And avoid rush hour. And remember, slow travel actually saves on fuel. Exactly. And your RV doesn't need to be going over 70 anyway.
Yes.
65 or below.
And when it gets to the end of the night, try not to drive into the night. You're going to have your own personal opinions on whether or not you want to drive at night. There are less people on the road to deal with, but there's more animals to deal with. So whatever you want to do, we prefer not to drive at night. So get off before it gets too dark so you're not pulling into a campground in the dark if you're going to a campground. Or, if you're checking out a Walmart or similar type parking lot or a casino or a truck stop or rest stop, you can get in there, you can get settled, get some dinner, chill out. Make sure to ask for permission where you're parking and ask them where you should park. Yeah.
And remember, if you are towing a car, check your manual, see how often that it needs to be run to keep it lubricated, and just get in the habit of doing it if you're doing long travel days and not unhooking and going anywhere.
And when you get up to leave the next morning, no matter what you got, truck, van, trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome, walk around it outside. Make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. Because you might have been driving that whole previous day with your water hose just hanging out the side of the RV and not even noticed it. And now it's your chance to fix that.
And I just saw Susan said they once had a flat on the truck with a trailer and 3 kids. And they were so thankful for having water so they could all use the restroom.
Yes. That's the last one.
Yeah.
Make sure you got some water on board.
Oh, that was the first one on Prepare.
Oh, okay. We just wrapped it all the way around again. That's how recaps work. Cool. All right, guys. Well, if you have any questions, now's your time to get them out here. Otherwise, we're going to go. We're in Lawrence, Kansas. It's really nice outside.
It's like the perfect spring day today.
Yeah.
It is. So it's nice.
I actually, we're only here for one night, but I put my hammock up anyway. Even if I only sit in it for 20 minutes, that's 20 minutes more than I've done in the last 6 months. So
Cheryl's saying, depending on what city you get to, if you don't get to Walmart by 7, you won't find room to park.
Yeah.
And some of those Walmarts get pretty busy.
But that's been rare in our experience. We do a lot of Walmarts overnights, and we've almost always found something. But that's why we kind of have our hierarchy. We've got our casinos, our harvest hosts, which we talked about before. Then we get into like the Walmarts and the parking lots, and then we work our way down, and eventually you'll find somewhere. And Absolutely. Once you get more comfortable with those options, then you can start to get more comfortable with not planning so much. You don't have to think about, well, where am I going from here to there? Where am I going to put the RV? Where am I going to sleep? Since we're comfortable with that, we really don't plan a whole lot anymore. We just kind of go. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, there are options out there, which is great. And he mentioned Harvest Coast. If you guys don't know that, we did do a video on it a while back. So just go under videos on the RV to Freedom Facebook page, and you can find the one that says Harvest Host right there, because it is a cool option for overnights.
Yeah. They're a little bit further off the road, but their experience is all on their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're not in the Facebook group already, there's rvtofreedomgroup.com. We'll get you straight to the Facebook group. and you can come in there and hang out. And oh, nice. And then we also have our course. Sorry, I was looking at my notes here. We also have our course called Roadmap to FulltimeRVing.com, which teaches you all of this stuff, which is like just the easy stuff, all the way down to the deep stuff. But not only that, it's really a community, and we're all about kind of helping.
Community.
And making sure.
Jonathan's posting made us so that we can all find each other
Yeah.
on the road.
Exactly.
A little private. Find my friends.
So we just closed enrollment for that, so it'll be a while before we open it up again. But it's good stuff. And hey, Catherine in Long Beach, California. That's the opposite direction from where we're going, but that's a nice place out there too. So we're glad you're here, and hope that helps a little bit with long travel days. Try not to have too many if you don't have to. But,
right.
Sometimes life means you do.
Yeah.
Or just wanting to get somewhere. So see you guys later.
See you next Monday. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this replay of our Facebook Live show.
Join our Facebook community to participate in the live shows and learn how to live in an RV.
Go to rvtofreedomgroup.com to join the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And to be notified about our next live videos and more, sign up with the link provided below in the video description.
We want to help you find your RV to freedom.